Hello, this is a MicroGuitar. A MicroGuitar is a miniature model guitar. It has strings, it has fretboard, it has pickups, scratch plates. But the really cool thing about these miniature MicroGuitars is that they're actually playable. Now the micro range of MicroGuitars has a range of different styles of guitars. So we have an SG, we have a Flying V, we've got the Stratocaster, we've got the Gibson Explorer. There's a whole range of other guitars that we're currently working on. And the great thing about being able to play your own tunes on these guitars is that you can create your own songs and share them across the internet. Now, one of the nice things about the MicroBand range of instruments is the ability to share your music with other people across the internet. Here we've got a very simple sequencer into which somebody's already provided a very simple drum track for us to play along to. As an example of how we can create a very simple song using our MicroGuitar, and in this case a set of micro drums on our simple sequencer. Now with the miniature MicroGuitar you can of course load a set of samples which will allow you to create or recreate your favourite tunes. Here's one that we made using Metallica riffs. Out the right riffs, play them at the right time, you can recreate any of the famous rock tunes. But of course, just like real music and playing real instruments, the fantastic fun comes when you start mixing and matching. And you'll hear guitarists say it all the time. Oh, I borrowed a riff from Jimmy Page, or I played this thing a little bit the way Eric Clapton does. I mean, a lot of the guitarists in the 60s would blatantly rip off each other's riffs and incorporate them into their own songs. And of course, if you've ever heard Oasis, those sort of 90s Britpop rockers, you'll know that there's more than just a little influence of the Beatles. We've done the same thing here. There's a load of samples, some of them may be familiar, some maybe not, but when it becomes really interesting is when you start playing them out of sequence and making your own tunes with them. Okay, here's an example of how we can create our own music using samples and riffs that we've lifted or borrowed from other songs. Now, anyone who grew up in the 80s or has ever listened to MTV, probably familiar with this one. That was, of course, Poison's Talk Dirty to Me. Now we can play pretty much the same sequence of chords, but change the order that we play them in, and we create something that, although it sounds vaguely familiar, which is something that you're always looking for in a great song, it's also something that's unique to us as a band or as a musician, although it's based on an existing track. Let's play the same sequence, but in a slightly different order. So there you can hear it's the same chords, it's even part of the same riff, exactly the same samples that made up the opening riff, only we've changed the order of them, and then we end up with what could be part of a song, or maybe a chorus, a bridge. We're not going to make the next #1 hit with it, but certainly something a little bit different to what you've already had. And that's an example of how, using the MicroBand website and the vast library of samples and sounds that are on there, you can actually create your own songs from known and existing riffs.